Before we start with the analysis, we want to point out some things that are important for this video. First, all of you who follow Warthog Defense see our commitment to the defense of Ukraine. And we do this for the sole reason that we do not agree with the barbaric attacks on a sovereign country in the 21st century, under the veil of imperialism and nationalism promoted by Russian President Putin. One of the main justifications for the so-called special military operation, and in essence a classic war aggression against a neighboring country, is the alleged Nazism and fascism that exists in Ukraine. And while the Nationalist Party in Ukraine that supported the 1st Azov Battalion won only 1% in the elections, and the Ukrainian people voted en masse for the Jew Zelensky, those claims are particularly idiotic. On top of that, in the exchange of prisoners, Russia released the entire Azov leadership that was captured in Mariupol, including Brigade Commander Denis Prokopenko, in exchange for Viktor Medvedchuk, Putin's right-hand man in Ukraine. So the Russians captured, according to them, the main Nazi, the commander of the announced battalion and the Azov. And what did they do? They released him. To illustrate, it would be like if the Allies in World War II had arrested Hermann Göring or Heinrich Himmler during the war and simply released them back. On the other hand, Russian President Putin's basic claim for Ukrainians is that they are an artificial nation, that their language is artificial, and that they are actually Russians. Denial of the uniqueness of the nation, claims about the superiority of one's nation, imperialist ambitions, and the barbaric destruction of entire cities are otherwise the basic characteristics of fascism and Nazism. Well, the Russian mercenary army is called Wagner, for God's sake. For those who don't know, Wagner was a favorite Nazi composer, and his music served as an inspiration for Hitler's ideology. And that's how we got to the Hague Court, whose indictment and warrant for Putin's arrest are irresistibly reminiscent of the Nuremberg trials of Nazi criminals after the war. But we still think that indictment is not a good idea now. Without getting into the debate about double standards and comparisons to George W. Bush's second invasion of Iraq, I don't like other pragmatic aspects of this solution. War crimes have already been documented in Ukraine, such as the one in Bucha, for example, or the example cited by the court regarding the kidnapping of Ukrainian children from orphanages. But the fact is that the court in The Hague has no mechanism to bring Putin to trial. In practice, this means that a declaratory decision has been made, which still restricts Putin's movement in all countries over which the court has jurisdiction, and thus still puts pressure on him. Furthermore, that decision limits the options for Putin if he plans to hand over power in a peaceful way in the future and drives him into a corner, the cornered rat strategy, which further complicates the chances of reaching an agreement regarding Ukraine. And regardless of the poor performance of the Russian armed forces and the analyses of overestimation of Russian military power, one should not forget that Russia is still the largest nuclear power in the world, and the illogical personified pressures on the man who, without anyone else's control, has the red finger button, is never a smart solution.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.